Hello everyone, and welcome to a short video on after a playtest of my Tide of Iron scenario that I'm in the process of designing. Tigers lash out at Ladoga. I've already recorded an introductory video on this scenario, so please watch that one as well if you want more information on it. Based on it, well, here are some observations and some changes I'm going to make. Some changes have already been made. Originally, the value of the neutral command points was lower in many cases. Also, the Russian neutral command point was initially 3. And there was a rule called deep snow, which basically reduced the movement points of all units by 1. So their printed movement value was lowered by 1. So that was done away with already, and I think that works pretty well because, as you can see at the end of round 10, which is the end of the scenario, still very few Russians have made it off the board. To be precise, 1 tank and 1 half-track. The half-track became available through the Soviet Armored Reinforcements deck, which can be downloaded freely from www.commandandcolors.net, along with many other decks and units, and even an unofficial Pacific expansion. The site is not mine, by the way, but I have actually contributed by making some scenarios and posting them there, and I actually was a vast contributor as well when it comes to the Pacific expansion. Well, anyway, back to this scenario. So what I made change as well is the number of victory points you actually get. Originally, as you can see here, it was 2 VPs for each tank that exits the board here. It just costs 1 movement point to exit. Note that tanks cannot enter here because they're marsh hexes, so they would have to exit there. Same is true for the half tracks, of course, that became available through the Armored Reinforcements deck. They're actually mechanized infantry, and I think I actually have this token designates mechanized infantry. Can also be found on the website I mentioned earlier, and what I did is I simply printed it out. I cut it and I pasted it onto an existing toy thing, because I actually took over an entire collection from a friend, and so I had lots of spare parts, and that's what I used them for. That's how those became available. But anyway, back to the victory conditions. I think the score is actually quite okay. 0 to 2 VP should be a major German victory. Well, this certainly looks like a major German victory, so I guess that's okay. What I am wondering about is whether or not I should actually give an exited infantry 2 points, because after all, infantry have to hold conquer territory, and a tank or another vehicle just 1 point. And I think I'll go with that, because that also makes it more worthwhile, especially early on, to buy some cards from the Soviet reinforcement deck, because those infantry will give you more points. And I will keep the deep snow rule, but it will actually have a different effect. Basically, it means, which was actually always the intention, that trucks cannot be bought from the Soviet reinforcements deck by spending 1 more command point. Something else I'm going to change is I'm going to change some of these neutral command point objectives for German ones, because I want to retain the scenario flow of the Russians having to play catch up. And I did actually change this one before, because otherwise some of the cards, for instance this one, become completely unaffordable. It takes too long, and by the time you can actually buy them, they won't be able to make it off the board anymore. So the 5 was a good solution. I think this one will stay a neutral 2, and I think at least 2 of these. This one may stay neutral as well, but these 2 will become German 2s, so that the Soviets will have a tougher choice of which cards do I buy, what can I actually afford, because there is a special rule as well called poor communications. You can see it here. The Soviets must pay one available command each time they wish for their units to make a combined fire attack. And, well, that may become too easy. Not so much in this scenario. That is, in this playthrough, I guess I could have played that slightly differently, just make sure you have a couple of tanks together at all times. But yeah, that's certainly a thing they can do. But yeah, now they have a ton of command points left over, like 26 or something, and that's way too many. That's not necessary. And I want them to make tough choices. And the Germans, on the other hand, only have one. Now that actually turned out to work pretty well, because in the beginning, the Germans spent their command pretty thriftily, if that's a word. But the thing is, yeah, they spent so much of it that by the time, by the late game, they had so few command points left. They just had that one, and at a certain moment only that one, and had the game continued for another round, they wouldn't have even had this one. So then they couldn't buy anything, which in a manner of speaking worked out pretty well. But yeah, and if these command points are taken by the Russians, obviously they will deny them to the Germans, so that effect should basically stay in by making this change of making these command points, at least those two German. That effect should stay the same, but the Russians won't have all of a sudden so much extra command to spend. So I'm going to do another playtest now, and I will be recording it from round to round and see how it works out. So the changes, to summarize, are going to be these two objectives are going to be German twos. It's not allowed to buy trucks, which I didn't use anyway, but I will make that official now. And also, especially the victory conditions, it's 2 points for each infantry unit and 1 point for each vehicle that exits. So let's try again and see how it works out. Thank you for watching.